watching Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports, and I am Stone Shields. Welcome into this at-home edition of Bengals Breakdown. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down a particular article that was up on The Athletic, kind of some whip-around coverage. Four of the guys that cover the teams in the AFC North were asked four questions, and they all kind of responded based on the particular situations of the team in which they are covering. The Bengals guy for The Athletic, of course, is Dehner Jr., and he does a tremendous job covering the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think the four questions that were asked in this piece up on The Athletic are very, very important questions and certainly relate heavily to the Cincinnati Bengals and kind of the state of where their organization is at this current point as we sit here on Sunday, July 13th. So we're going to be breaking that down on today's show. Make sure you stick around for the entirety of today's show, because at the end we do have some interesting points to add on to as well. But before we get into that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already at youtube.com/BengalsTV. We are approaching 19,500 subscribers here at the channel, and we are trying to get that right here on this video. I think we only need 30 or so subs in order to make that happen on today's show. So help us out. Hit that sub button if you haven't done so already. We'll be here throughout the entirety of the offseason, and of course, once training camp picks up, then things really start to get fun, and there really is a bunch more stuff to talk about. So join us. Really hope you do. We'll be here throughout the entirety of the season as well. Hit that sub button for me. youtube.com/BengalsTV. So we're going to kind of go a little bit out of order here. We'll touch on the Shemar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson stuff in a second, but I do want to start with the question that was, what is the most important or most talked about position battle, essentially, once camp begins? Which one are you really focused on? The most important one, according to Dehner Jr. in this case for The Athletic, and I think he hit the nail on the head as far as it goes. The guard spots, the left guard spot and the right guard spot. And in the article, Paul really did a great job of breaking down, hey, you got all you need as far as continuity goes offensively, right? You have all these guys coming back. You got a healthy Joe Burrow. You got your stud receivers, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Mike Gesicki's back in the fold. Chase Brown just had a breakout season. You got your bookend tackles in place. Obviously, you keep your fingers crossed that they're able to stay healthy, but Amarius Mims and Orlando Brown Jr., rock solid there, anchoring both sides of your offensive line. Then you got a trustworthy veteran up front in Ted Karras. It kind of comes down to what you're going to do at the left guard spot and what you're going to do at the right guard spot. And I think for now it feels like kind of four guys competing for those spots, but I definitely think you could see more guys enter the fold when you're talking about those starting spots. I think Dylan Fairchild, your third-round pick out of Georgia, a guy I'm really excited about. I think he's probably going to win that left guard battle. And then on that right guard side is Cordell Volson, a guy that started for you for 3 years. Is he going to be able to win the job and make the team? More on Volson later on today's show. Cody Ford, a guy that's sticking around, right? The Bengals really like him as that sixth offensive lineman that has that versatility to play inside and outside. Can he be a guy that is a starter for you come week one? Obviously, Lucas Patrick, a guy that you kind of picked up late in free agency, certainly a journeyman throughout his career, but you've heard Zach Taylor, you've heard Scott Peters speak very highly of a guy like Lucas Patrick that could come in and potentially start for this football team. So those guard spots are really going to be interesting for the Cincinnati Bengals, and obviously when you're protecting the franchise and Joe Burrow, that's got to be taken very, very seriously. And you've got all this continuity on offense, but it all kind of goes for nothing if those guards can't at least be serviceable. Do they need to be all pros? No, they just need to go out there and be serviceable, give Joe Burrow some protection on the interior, and let everybody else kind of do their job offensively. You just don't want to be in a situation where it's like, oh, you're continually talking about these guys on the interior offensive line because they're either holding or, letting guys get through and sack the quarterback. If you're sitting there and you're not really saying much about those guys, that means they're playing really, really well and doing their job. And ultimately, that is what Cincinnati is going to ask of them. And at the end of the day, I think either side of the ball, those guard spots is going to be the most interesting position battle to monitor as time goes on and we get into training camp and, of course, the preseason as well. So pin comment time here on today's show. What is the most interesting position battle in your opinion? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Is it the guard spot? Is it somewhere else? Sound off for us right now. All right, now we'll go back to kind of the top of the article. The question was, is there still some important or expensive business to be addressed by the team you cover in the next few weeks before the start of training camp? Obviously, yes, Shemar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson. Dehner talked about quiet in Cincinnati. No, it's never quiet in Cincinnati this time of year. Seemingly always there's some kind of, ongoing contract dispute where both sides are trying to figure things out. This year here in 2025 is no different. I think the most concerning one at this point probably is Shemar Stewart. As you know, rookies if they don't have their contract signed, they can't participate in training camp. And the Bengals and Stewart, of course, are trying to work on building that NFL skill set where he can go out and rush the passer. He's a raw prospect, and he hasn't had any opportunity to practice on the football field to this point. Obviously, that is a very significant issue. Trey Hendrickson, as far as it relates to his practice, I don't think that necessarily is the biggest red flag. Dehner points out in his article, Hendrickson could show up a week before the Browns game and still get a couple of sacks. I believe that to be true as well. Yeah, you would like him to be around the team, around the guys more, less of a distraction. I get it, but these things tend to take a little bit of time to play out. Hopefully, Hendrickson is suited up week one. I think ultimately that would be a win for the Cincinnati Bengals. But this Shemar Stewart stuff has got to be addressed right here, right now, because training camp is on the horizon and he cannot participate without a deal, and that certainly is something that is, at the end of the day, a very big distraction for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's something that we've documented a lot here on the show and we'll continue to break down, especially as we get closer to training camp here in a couple of weeks. We'll continue with two other questions that The Athletic posed to their AFC North beat writers, but I do want to give a shout out to our friends over at Fanatics. Let you guys know that these Bengals Hoodie T-Shirts are out. They're on sale. You can go get them. Chatsports.com/Bengals T-Shirt Hoodie /. They're very cool, and they're like $20 off, I believe, which obviously is a pretty good deal over there on Fanatics. They're short sleeve, but they have a hood. So if you want to wear it to like a training camp situation, pop the hood up, perhaps shield you from the sun a little bit, you can do that. It's a very thin hood. So obviously has a hood. People think, oh, it's not a summer thing. No, it can definitely still be a summer thing, and really encourage you guys to go over on Fanatics and check that out. We will put that link in the comment section and the description of today's show. One more time for you guys, that is chatsports.com/Bengals T-Shirt Hoodie /. All right, next question that I want to get to here on today's show was, does the team you cover have a long-time or well-known player who might be on the bubble or the trade block late this summer? And the question, of course, for the Cincinnati Bengals is yes, and the guy that Paul Dehner Jr. mentioned is Cordell Volson. Now, there's a chance that Volson could go out there and potentially win the starting job. It's probably not going to be at that left guard spot. It seemingly feels like that's Dylan Fairchild to lose, but on that right side, the Bengals feel like he gives them the best chance to win. They are ultimately going to go with him. But the contract certainly is an issue when you're talking about a guy like Cordell Volson. Remember, he had that performance-based pay, so that really jumped his salary, but then he negotiated it down with the Cincinnati Bengals. It was restructured, and but he still counts as $3.1 million against the cap, and the Bengals would save, this is important here, $2.5 million by releasing or trading him. So if you're in a position where Cordell Volson is kind of playing the same as a UDFA, a young guy, Jackson Kirkland maybe you want to throw out there, then you're probably thinking, well, if they're playing about the same, we can get rid of Volson and keep this guy. If Volson wants to make this team, he clearly has to be better than the other options at right guard. Does he have that ability? We'll see. We've seen Scott Peters speak very highly of Cordell Volson, and I'm really excited to see him under the tutelage of Scott Peters. But at the end of the day, we're going to find out pretty early in training camp in the preseason if Volson has made those adjustments, has made those steps, and can be a guy that the Bengals can lean on come the regular season. This isn't something where, we need to see him out there in the regular season to see if he's made these adjustments and improvements. No, this guy that started for the team for 3 years. You'll see in training camp and preseason if he's at the place where Cincinnati wants him to be, or if he's at a place where he becomes expendable and you can get rid of him and perhaps save $2.5 million in salary. Another opportunity for you guys to get involved with our show here at Bengals Breakdown. Will Cordell Volson make the team? Let me know. Be honest with us. Will he be on that team come week one against Cleveland? Type Y for yes or N for no. All right, last question I want to address here on today's show. Who's the one player you want to see more of once camp gets rolling? Whether it's a rookie who could instantly make an impact or a complete long shot, is there an easy pre-camp choice here? And once again, I am in full agreement with Paul Dehner Jr. because the guy that he mentioned is edge rusher Myles Murphy. And Murphy has gotten a ton of snaps and reps throughout the offseason program, and I think that's going to continue come training camp and the preseason as well. Obviously, 2023 first-round pick. The time seemingly is ticking a little bit on Myles Murphy. When you hear Al Golden, first-year defensive coordinator, talk about him, he seemingly has that same mindset, kind of a now or never type feel for Myles Murphy. It's a guy that was a really, freaky athlete, kind of an athletic specimen. When you took him out of Clemson, it has not translated whatsoever, and candidly, he kind of looks slow out there when he's rushing the passers. This team, this coaching staff believes that he has the tools required in order to be a quality guy that can help them win, but he didn't have a singular sack last year. That's simply not getting it done. And we'll know pretty early if he's not getting the playing time come the regular season. That shows you all you need to know. If he can't beat out guys at that edge rusher spot, whether it be, I think Joseph Osai is probably going to get a lot of tick as well. But a guy like Cedric Johnson, a rookie from last year, there's a lot of uncertainty there. Even Shemar Stewart, if he's playing with this football team in 2025, you're going to know based on his playing time how the coaches really, really feel about him. It's now or never for Myles Murphy, as I just mentioned, and he's certainly a guy that we all should have our eyes locked in on, because if he plays like a former first-round pick, that can solve a lot of your issues when it comes to rushing the quarterback, regardless of the situation of Trey Hendrickson and Shemar Stewart. This is a room that should be in a good spot when you're talking about Trey Hendrickson, hopefully, Shemar Stewart, guy like Joseph Osai, Myles Murphy, former number 1 overall pick, Cedric Johnson, you name it. There's several guys in this room, but from an edge rusher's perspective, they haven't done anything apart from Trey Hendrickson the past couple of years, and you haven't had any threat of getting the quarterback down, besides, of course, Trey Hendrickson. So Myles Murphy has to take that next step. He has to show that he can be counted on, because if he doesn't do it this year, it kind of feels like he officially is a bust, and you kind of just got to move on and lick your wounds and say, yeah, we whiffed on a first-round pick. We'll try to, not let that happen again in the future. So I just kind of wanted to break down those whip-around topics. I think The Athletic did a great job with that. And even the Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cleveland stuff is very noteworthy as well. And it really can, if you check out that article, it's up on Dehner's Twitter, it can really help you gear in on what exactly to expect as far as the AFC North goes. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow, have more videos for you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter as well. Most of our Bengals Breakdown content will be posted to my Twitter page, so go give me a follow over on Twitter at StoneShields_.